what ION can do, knowing this is all against them, right? All this diving potential. I think the Viego has to do well. If he falls behind in the jungle, it could be a little bit doomed. We know just how strong a Viego can be amongst the chaos to pick up all those low HP members.
Yeah, definitely. As we do see, the 5-man stack going straight to bot lane, so ANC are prioritizing, their bot lane control. The ward does go down, so they're going to be spotted. This means that, if ION want to walk in topside, drop wards to get a clear vision of where Foreigner will be starting. And, if Jarvan is tracked in the early game, it's so much easier for these, mobile laners to navigate these early games that could come out of Jarvan.
What is your favorite version of Jarvan? Because we've seen so many different styles, right? It'd be like a 2-camp clear into a gank, a level 3 rush. Very rarely do we see a level 6 4 clear before we go in for our first fight. But do you think it kind of changes things a little bit, knowing that you're going into a Viego that wants to be active as well?
I'd say my favorite iteration of Jarvan is definitely the Balkan level 2 gank Jarvan meta. I think that, when I think back about Jarvan, it's when he has pressure on the map early, he can really take over the game. I never think of Jarvan as the champion who wants to just full clear, just cycle these camps all the time and just, go into the team fight 0-0-0. He definitely can do that because his main job is to just cataclysm the carries and make sure he blows summoners. But Jarvan wants to be on the map as much as possible. He is so strong in the early game. He has one of the better kits in the game for the level 2, level 3 ganks. But once again, we talked about it yesterday. When these junglers gank early, it is so hard to get back into, the next 4 or 5 minutes when you're just behind in tempo all the time.
That's exactly right. Yeah, if you fail that gank, if the time is wasted, obviously so much free information for your opponents to utilize, and in many cases that was a jungle camp stolen or a camp or even an objective started up that you have no way to answer back towards. So we'll have to wait and see how Foreigner decides to play this one. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, you can see a classic wrestle to try and gain not only bush control but level 2 priority, and there is the Nautilus tech again, just always threading the needle.
Yeah, the hitbox on the hook it's very large, so he's just going to constantly be able to just, walk in and out of the bush, land hooks, get a bit of harass, gain priority. Really nice, for the jungler to be able to path to a land of priority. It secures him, the safe side of his jungle, plus, the easy crowd in the early game. Akali may be losing priority in mid, but she does want to be able to participate in these skirmishes if ION does want to match bot side for the crowd, but based on where Kali is pathing right now to the top side, more likely it's just going to be a trade in the early game.
Well, that was going to be my question, right? Talking of junglers, where would we like to see them try to influence first? Because I look at bot lane and say there's an abundance of CC there, and certainly to punish the center nice and early would put them in good stead. I suppose we could expand that point even further on a separate question and say, how does Styx want to navigate this champion? Because we saw for Lemus, it was a case of hang around in bot lane for a few minutes, then roam and just be a second jungler. But then we've seen other times where it's just sit in bot, farm up and coast on through. So take it as you will with that question, Tally, as to how you want to answer it. We'll see what happens here, though, if Zorinus is going to actually make anything happen into Cole Lee, who does manage to get the blue buff in the end.
This is really nice coming out of Zorinus because, one of the problems with this, Rumble matchup that we keep seeing is, like, they get ganked early. They have to blow summoners. They're unable to really snowball their lanes and, just really blow up their 1v1. So, like, he finds priority on the first 2 waves, runs in the jungle himself, finds the jungler, drops a ward, so like he knows where he is now. He's forced Kali out of his own jungle, so he's a bit behind on tempo. The opponent's already finishing off the crab here, so he can already go for the recall if he wants to. Kali's down at camp, so it's just, creating little advantage to the rest of his team based off how his lane is going.
Thinking of those little advantages, you can see a fair bit of aggression found in the mid lane. As to be expected, right, this is really one of those matchups I was excited for. We've seen that Jovi is unrelenting in his ability to say, no matter what my scoreline is, I've got one objective in mind, and that is to find a kill and find it fast, as the Akali, no doubt, is going to be singing that same mantra as well. Popping her head back into the bot lane too. It doesn't look like much has changed. Things still be held in the middle with the Nautilus reigning supreme, just hanging out in those bushes.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the problems with the Maokai is like when you get pushed in, your wave clear is very short. You can't really land the Bramble Smash from such a far distance away. Especially the gank coming to Doraemon. His wave is in a really bad position, but he has to fight this with his minion wave.
This is really awkward for Doraemon right now. He might even die before in comes the flag and drag. That's a nice little buffer with the flash to make sure it did land. First blood actually does go his way. We pan our head straight to bot lane, and it only goes from bad to worse as Raze picks up his first 2.
Yeah, Maokai may be tanky, but if you get hit by at least 10 Nautilus hooks in a row, you definitely will fall down. So they find the blue-purple gun combo, no cleanse onto the support, so it's a very easy CC combo. They get the kill, they're going to find the easy reset, they're going to get the buy that they want. And something else to touch on with the, actually I'll go back to the mid lane point after as we go into the replay. See, once again, it's just going to be another hook lands from Dracu. We get the root coming out of the Aphelios. It's just a very easy kill to pick up, He's lost so much health from all these trades that we keep seeing coming out of Dracu. But a point I did want to touch on with the the Akali is like one of the strengths of Akali is you can really use your health to trade priority because she with the combo of her health regen, her fleet, and her Doran shield, her sustain in lane is quite insane. So a lot of the time you'll see Akali take these like 30-70 trades where she loses out, but ends up winning in the long run because the amount of sustain you have is just unmatched.
Yeah, and how many times have we seen in the past where you'd be like, oh, it's the Azir Akali matchup, this is so bad for the Akali, but then it hits a certain point in the game, you're like, hang on a minute, the Akali is just straight smurfing it now. Jovi with the Weaver's Wall, going to try and block off the gank that Draku was threatening them with. Flash for flash match as Hexflash jumps in with a twisted advance, but I think he's overshot the mark. He got in a little bit too early. They punish, they dive, but they're yet to find the kill. The center route connects, but only onto the minions. And in the end, Tally, a whole bunch of nothing.
Yeah, really, really nice discipline out of Draku there. The hold to flash as long as possible. Side steps to shove coming out of Jovi. Baits out the flash from Hexflash and really baits for his team there. Incursio unfortunately misses the R2 out of the perfect execution, so is unable to find the kill into Hexflash. So just a lot of nothing going on here. But, more than likely based on like the fact that Ion is still a bit more healthy from the trade, we might see them pick up the grubs here, but with Zoranus being that diff in the top lane right now, with the wave stack coming here, Styx might have to blow his flash.
Look at that, that's such a good equalizer right now. Make it the Harpoon, shred that magic resistance, just burn you down with the Flame Spitter. Styx burnt the flash, but he just couldn't get far away enough. And you can try and go for those grubs, but you will just die.
Yeah, and this is the strength of the Rumble that we keep talking about. Like, why is this champ so strong? Is it you pretty much your full build when you buy your Sork shoes, you were going to do an insane amount of damage. You saw Styx have flash there. It didn't even matter. Zoranus lands just a part of his equalizer and has enough damage to take him from 100 to 0.
Yeah, the Harpoon obviously such a broken element of that, right? It's the ability to slow you down, shred the resistance and say, enjoy sitting on that equalizer, buddy. It's not going to work out well for you. 2 grubs then go the way of Antic, having secured 1 at the very start of that play there for Ion. And as we pan into the bot lane, you can see Raze with the perfect weapon setup is able to do so much damage, actually take away 3 turret plates.
Yeah, this is honestly, really nice job from Antic. We keep talking about like how they have these really good early games, but Ion is also another team who has a really, really strong early game in our league. But I think we're just seeing the difference in, the comfortability when it comes to the draft right now. I think Antic got all the champs they wanted. They were really sure of what Ion were going to play. They drafted really well into it. I'm not too worried for Ion though, because I think that as the game does go on, it gets easier for them. I think laning phase is the the main part where the bot lane will struggle, but once they hit the mid game, once they hit those team fights, is where the Maokai will have a much happier time.
Yeah, we've certainly seen it happen time and time again, right? When they group up and rally around a Maokai, they can just really do no wrong. It's just a case of burn that ultimate on call out and see how the enemy responds to that. Vision getting cleared out here in the bot lane as I make a play towards that very first dragon, but Forno walks in and says, how do you do? You have no flash, you have no disengage. 2 members stuck inside the Cataclysm, and it's just easy pickings from Aphelios to walk in and say 1, 2, that'll do nicely. Sidestep your response as Collie becomes the Jarvan, flash across the wall, and you're out to be safe. No, you're not. The Heartbreak is there, and the double kill is found on the reset. As Coley's trying to do it all on his own right now. Where is the team to back him up? There's nobody to be found. And in the end, he dies to a bit of assistance from a tower.
Yeah, and Incursio, as like we all know, is one of the best roamers in our region. Really abusing his Katarina timings to always find roams. So he's, dropped the wave, and he's been the difference here for this roam, because if he wasn't there, Coley just clutched a really, really bad situation for his team. Antic find a really nice engage onto Styx, no flash, so much damage. Might be a bit too far of his team right now, because if he does go down, and when Diego finds these resets onto these strong melee champions, like this is when he's able to take over these skirmishes.
The sad part about it, right, is the fact that Joey wasn't able to match that of the roam from Incursio. Maybe, just maybe, things could have worked out a little bit differently, but overall I think it's a really promising sign, right, to see that the Viego does get aggressive, does find some kills, and does, as always, find that trade.
Yeah, unfortunately, Draki, KS is the killer there at the end, but it's still a win for Antic. They find the win in the skirmish. I would like to see both these teams start prioritizing the objectives a bit more there. I want to see these dragons start going down. We're seeing a lot of control come out of the Antic bot lane, and I think, with the priority they get, with the waves they're able to stack, they should, really start stacking these dragons, because I think it's important as a team as a winning side lane to, really play around these objectives where they can find these flanks.
And I think it makes even more sense noting that, yes, still those flashes are down, so how does the likes of a Maokai instead of respond to this one? Even a Viego, unless he wants to burn his ultimate to disengage, it should be a pretty scary situation for them to engage a skirmish like this, so they will just have to sacrifice it. Antic takes full advantage of that one. Ocean Drake goes their way.
Yeah, easy as that. As I said, use the priority, get the easy dragon. Ion, once again, always on they're on the back foot right now in the early game. They're constantly having to respond to the plays coming out of Antic. Antic has really, really nice vision control. Have to see if they're able to find this kill onto Raze. He does not have flash.
Yeah, he's in a lot of trouble with his raise this time. He knows that he's going to be resigned to death on this occasion here. Tries to trade back into Styx, who gets dangerously low. Oh, what a flip! Really nicely done there by Jovi. He does force up the flash in the end from Dragku, which is the saving grace, but it's a great rotation, and Ion do finally answer back.
Yeah, really nice roam coming out of Ion. I think that Antic probably felt a bit too comfortable with how much vision control they had there on the bot side, but it's just a very easy, use the center, you get the speed up, get the root onto Raze. Even though he does have cleanse, it doesn't matter into Maokai because, he's got multiple forms of CC and you don't have flash. He's going to have to lock you up long enough for his team to follow up.
Well, their flash is being back up and available very shortly. Styx not too far away as well. Maybe that just turns the tide of that bot lane back in their favor because it was starting to go against them, right? The fact that Raze had 3 kills to his name, it already had that BF sword and was so far ahead of the Maokai, who is actively farming compared to that of the center. There's actually forced a lane swap, which is interesting to note. 10 minutes into this one. Next set of Void Grubs are up and available. Having just spawned now, and is going to be matched by Ion 2.
Yeah, curious that Antic are the ones who initiate this. I assume they were thinking, we can go topside, contest the Grubs, and Rumble can, ult the wave. They can't really trade them to us because Affiliates can hit the turret in the 1v1 scenario. But something to note here is that Hex Flash has access to the teleport, so if he wants to drop wave spot, just give all that golden experience to Zoranus, he can really impact the team fight that might happen topside.
He certainly can. How much is he willing to sacrifice before this fight breaks out, though? If he gets low from just straight trading into the Rumble, then that TP doesn't really find as much success as it could do otherwise. Infinite vision now to be cleared out in favor of Antic as they make their march towards that second spawn of the Grubs, and Curcio holding it down in the mid lane too, and Doraemon and Cole Lee just hanging on the outskirts, waiting to see what Antic decide to do next. All about positioning. Yeah,
the flashes are coming back up for Ion, so if they do want to contest this, Styx can, flash the Cataclysm, get to safety, but it's all about, Zoras and Curcio right now. These Solitaires are so strong. They have, their mini spikes. I see the flash in coming out of Jovi.
There certainly is. There is them looking for the equalizer, getting a fair bit of damage. Dawnly Shadow goes out, denies Zoranus with the kill. He wants to try and find Zoranus, gets the flame spitter, but can't find the damage. Just too close to the turret. Inside the Cataclysm, and Curcio forced to flash at the safety. In jumps Doraemon, trying to hunt for the Akali. Diving underneath the tower. And Tofo strikes denied. The tower gets it done. And in Curcio, just such a juicy bait that forces out a winning fight.
Yeah, and I think we saw the same story from both top laners. They're a bit of an overextension, diving to try and kill the mid laners, a bit of misplay out of both top lanes, so they fall down. But once again, Antic are going to win these skirmishes. Their team is so much better in these really, risky, micro scenarios where the Akali and Rumble can really shine. If we go into the replay once again, we see Jovi flash in to try, find the flick onto the rooted in Curcio, but unfortunately, right into Zoranus' face. And we don't want to be in front of Rumble. The amount of damage he's going to output at this point is insane.
Yeah, you can see frustration from Zoranus though, right? The fact that he burns double summoners, ignite, flash, tries to get Jovi, he just limps away. But his fight is done by this point. And on the tail end, right, it's just craziness, really, for lack of a better word from Doraemon. I will get you at any case. I need gold.
Yeah, payback from Solo Q for the amount of times that Incursio has assumedly roamed on him. But, I think Jovi is having a very nice game. He's having a quiet game, unable to really impact the early game because he wants to be able to, play safe, save his flash. He's afraid of the Jarvan gank potential. But, once he finds these items, he hits that mid game. This champ is very, very good into dive comps. He's going to do a really good job into the Akali, into the Jarvan in the 5v5 scenario. So, as long as he is on the clock, keeping up in CS, keeping up in experience, he's going to be very happy this game.
Well, let's see then what really materializes from that situation. 14 minutes, not too far away then. Turret plates drop and the gold lead will then settle with a 3k lead in Antic's favor. That has really been the story of their split so far, right? They've had gold leads. They've commoded it from the early game into the mid game. And in many cases, we've seen them get up to close to 10k ahead. But the weakness, basically for both teams, I think would ring true, is the ability to close things out. You can see right there, top of the charts will be Raze with the most gold in the game. So it's not too far behind, but it is Jovi leading the line for Ion.
Yeah, and to touch on the point about, the struggle to really close out these games, I think that goes to how both teams were drafting. A lot of their early game leads were coming from the fact that they were drafting such strong early game champions who just, weren't able to perform against these bruisers and tanks in the mid-late game. But, we're seeing from both teams very standard front to back, hyper-scaling champions. So I think that, the fact that Antic was able to get a lead, they're going to be much more comfortable in this game than they were in weeks past, based on the fact they have such nice scaling in the Aphelios, in the Akali, in the Rumble.
It's a good identification, right? The woes of last few weeks may just be dismissed now because that was all experimenting, and now it's all about refinement, right? Get yourself match fit for those playoffs, which both teams, I think, at this stage would feel confident about achieving. And certainly the newcomers that are causing these other teams to get a little bit concerned. Double ults being burnt, and Jovi's like, well, that's nice, but look how far away I've gone.
Yeah, that's one of the nice things about the Talia ult is even if you were to take damage while, riding your wall, you're not going to instantly pop off. You're going to, unless it's, straight up CC, if you're going to get auto attack, you're going to keep riding until you pop off later on down the line. So really nice by Jovi to recognize he's in trouble. He needs to get out of there because there's no TPs coming out of his team. The map is split. Unfortunately, like, he is the weak side, which is unfortunate as the mage, because usually you want to be in the position that Doraemon is in right now with your entire team enabling you to get as much gold as possible.
And as we saw, he had the most gold on his team, right? So he certainly doesn't want to lose that strength anytime soon. Equalizer going to trim that wave and deny Ion from looking to find much more here in the top lane. So no need for him to stick around as, yes, we have ourselves a Chemtech Soul to look forward to this game. 2 Drakes so far in Antic's possession. What do we rate of the Soul in this game?
I would say the extra resistances are pretty nice. I think that if Ion is able to pick up this dragon, we get the 4 dragons, I think it'll be very nice for them because a lot of the damage mitigation will come out and they'll be able to survive just that extra bit longer in these team fights, which will be the difference between winning and losing. I think that, if overall for Antic, they don't really want this Soul. Obviously you always want the Infernal, you want the Hex deck, you want to be able to, do as much damage as possible when you have these like burst champs in the Akali and the Rumble, but it's still, a Dragon Soul's better than no Dragon Soul in the end.
Certainly is. We've yet to really have a situation in which teams have said we don't actually want to go for the dragon because we're concerned about spawning the Elder and flipping the game. It's never really gotten to that point so far, even if the games have been slowing down from weeks 1 to 2 to where we find ourselves now. Quick check-in with Styx. I saw him have around about 70 soul stacks beforehand. I think you were keeping a keen eye on those centers yesterday as to whether or not they're on pace.
Yeah, I would say
quite happy with that.
He's around there. He's around on pace. Once again, we're talking about like that 5 souls per minute. So like he's just falling shortly behind that. But like as we get into mid game, as he's able to follow his jungle around, really like absorb the camps, absorb the waves, he's going to find a lot more souls than he was in the laning phase.
Let's see what's happening here. 2 mid laners roaming deep behind enemy lines. Goes Incursio right now. Just going to flip on back to that Shroud and showcase that Akali is ever so nimble. Very hard to lock on down. Frozen Heart now completed by Hex Flash. Going to find a fair bit of value into all these champions, but will it be too little too late? The fight's going to break out. Antic favored as they take down that mid-tier 1. They lock in place Cole lead. Yeah, Philios Moonlight Vigil's not enough to take him down, but it certainly is to take out Styx. There is the double for Raze, and they might look to try and do even more damage onto a second turret.
That is so unfortunate there that we see Jovi rotate with the wall to, get back into the team fight, but Styx, who flashed out the fight, gets completely locked off. He gets blocked off by his own teammate's wall. He's unable to escape out of the team fight after using his flash to survive the Cataclysm. So, just a little unfortunate scenario where I think that fight would have, really favored Ion based on the fact that they survived the initial engage, so they can come in and start cleaning up. They have the turret behind them, so they know they're not getting flanked. As we do go into the replay, like we see the engage, really nice, engage by Jack. It's very simple. Ult the carry while, CCing the tank. But we see Styx flash out, and like once again, everyone's surviving. The initial engage is going, but we see the wall come out, and Styx is just here.
It's so tragic, bro. So much negative synergy in that occasion, right? You're thinking, come on, man. I thought I've just outplayed this, and I've lost to my own teammate. He might lose again, actually, because he's been caught very far ahead of the rest of his team. And how many times have we seen that, the split, right, where random supports walk off and like, this should be safe, and then, nope, bye-bye.
Would you see if the Nort hook is able to land to Jovi here?
So you can burn a flash, but we're there to follow you, and there is nowhere to run or hide. Your strong point is now finally about to come to an end. In the end, there it is. 3-point strike gets it done. Cole Lee jumps in with a nice little stun. Backed up there by Hex Flash. Hooked to disengage. Draku running, and he does get rooted in the end by the Maokai ultimate, which should be fairly tanky, but certainly not enough to keep Incursio interested in this one, and will sacrifice his soul in the end.
Yeah, just good call by Incursio. He doesn't know where the rest of the team is, doesn't want to participate in the 2v2, doesn't have the ult, doesn't really have kill pressure onto them, so he just, plays a sacrifice Draku, but they found what they wanted already. They got the Jovi, they got the flash, and like the main thing for Antic going into these next team fights is the fact that both carries from Ion don't have flash, and it's just so easy for Foreigner to find these angles where he just needs to EQ Cataclysm. Even if he wants to commit the flash as well, he just needs to be able to lock them up, drop the Rumble on top of them, and it's going to be lights out for Ion in these fights.
It is such a bread and butter combo, right? Very hard to mess up. And I say, in terms of that, Zoras was being left to his own for what feels like a bit of an eternity. Obviously, Antic are forcing so many different skirmishes where not all 5 members are present, but it is opening up these side lanes to become that much more volatile, right? Where a Jarvan can just poke their head into, be it that or the Akali too, and say, well, what are you going to do? Is there actually anybody there to match it? Because yes, we have triple TPs on our side compared to just the one of Antic, but it feels like Antic are running the macro right now.
Yeah, they're definitely running the macro. Like another thing to touch on is the fact that I always talk about, like, you know, side laners, like how strong they are in League. And, you know, both Antic solo laners are so far ahead, respectively, so there's going to be able to get priority in the side lane. ION doesn't have the pressure because their bot lane fell so far behind to be able to engage into the 3v3 on mid lane or even the 2v2 because of the amount of gold that Raze has right now. Like, we look at his items, he is so far ahead of the clock right now when it comes to how much gold he has. We see the engage going on to Styx.
There it is, Tally. The massive Cataclysm equalizer. Lights out straight away for Styx. No flash, no worries. You are dead. Double kill again for Raze. He knows no wrong on this champion. It is his comfort for good reason. Make it a triple kill as he waits for the shadows, given the Quadra. Aphelios, Raze, pentakills, always written in the stars, but Jovi will deny.
He does have the flash. If the hook does land, maybe he can get the penta.
Hasn't expired though. Has it been too little too late? The pebbles drop on the floor. Ray says, you know what? I'll have a crack in the end. Toad actually blocking the pebbles, but not the second one. Shut down found by Jovi. You could tell that he was so keen for it. He would die for it.
Yeah, really unfortunate. He goes to the flash forward, doesn't find the auto onto Jovi, but he does pop the root. So, you know, the gun expires on the minion. He cycles it out. Unfortunately, Jovi's just spacing because Sleet does have that range advantage on it. But once again, as we go into the replay, we see how easy it is to engage for Foreign. He just finds the, you know, flash Cataclysm onto Styx. We're seeing Kozio coming from another angle. And even though his ult gets cancelled, look how easy this fight is for Raze. He's just pretty much one-shotting everyone who comes near him at this point in the game.
He certainly is. And if it's not him getting that initial burst out, some of the rest of his team acting as a meat wall and padding them low enough for him to come in and play cleanup crew. Now he extends out the replay and watch the tragedy for a second time.
Yeah, and, you know, unfortunately wasn't able to pick up the Penta, but as we do look at the live in the bottom corner, we do see ION pick up the Dragon, which is a bounty for them, so we're finding some gold back for the team. We found the shutdown for Jovi, Summoners being blown as well, so, you know, the one thing for ION right now is their Summoners will come back up, so the next fight will look much more pretty for them, but have to see if Antic, you know, just want to start this Baron, because we see Raze with the Baron taking guns, you know, red, white, good night. He's going to be absolutely destroying this Baron, and I'm not sure if ION will be able to make it in time.
But I don't think so. I think you raise a really good point, right? Yeah, they're still going to be down 5,500 gold, but they don't have the ability to really contest. And I think Antic, knowing that, you know, giving this gold and giving this time and space to ION is not what they need. They need to be aggressive. They need to try and force them into bad situations. It's like, well, we dare you to face check us at Baron because we're set up for it. The Weaver's Wall goes out. Foreigner locked on his own, but he's going to continue that one. It would seem actually in the end disengaging off because the Baron's already been taken. They go for Doraemon. He's trying to do as much as he can in the all-out form. So squishy, so strong, but not strong enough. As a triple kill comes out yet again for the Star in the AD carry position. 12-3 now for Raze.
Yeah, and I think we're starting to see the beginning of what we were used to from Raze in our old leagues. You know, I think we're starting to see the absolute powerhouse that this player was. Such a nice team fight coming out of him. You know, he lands the sniper onto Jovi, solos out the mid laner as his team is just doing so much work, you know, which is so much damage, so many different angles, so much pressure coming out of the Antic roster. And it's just, you know, very nice to see such good coordinated play out of them.
It certainly is, right? There are still just levels to this league. As much as people want to meme on the OS region as a whole, there are certain players that have the pedigree to hold their head high and know that they have made it both internationally and have played abroad as well. TP coming in here from Doraemon, deep behind enemy lines as he runs from the Baron pit back to where his top lane began. And 2 harpoons, and he's not happy.
Yeah, 2 harpoons, and you are, you know, that's a Nasus with it right there. You are not moving. As we do go into the replay, we see the setup that Antic has on Baron. We see, you know, Raze and Foreigner soloing on the Baron as 2-man, but very nice by Raze. He finds the Calibrim onto Jovi. You see him get soloed out by, you know, just 2 auto attacks pretty much, and he's gone. And from that point onwards, that main carry is dead, and it's so easy for Antic to just, you know, absolutely demolish ION, even though they have access to all these summoners.
Maybe Jarvan is just the best pick of all time, right? Certainly has found success for them on this occasion. Styx, unfortunately, for the 6th time this game, has been caught out and falls on down. And to immediately turn their attention out of the jungle, straight back towards that turret. The Moonlight Vigil goes out. Could have found a route if Raze had wanted, but just knowing that they've been forced off is enough for them, right? They have the Baron buff still for another 60 seconds. And this gold lead, it is astronomical now.
Yeah, and I would be certainly surprised if Antic were unable to end on this Baron push. We see the flash coming out of Dracu.
See what they can find with this one, though, because the Equalizer goes out. Oh, beautiful! With the Foreigner engage afterwards. It's just so easy for the Cataclysm to find success, and finally, we are treated with an ace. It's a perfect one at that. Not a single member of Antic falling down in the process. And with 5 Void Grub stacks, with 40 seconds still remaining on Baron, for sure now, Tally, for sure they end the game.
Yeah, definitely going to be a game over for them. You know, Forest having a bit of fun at the end of the game. as you do. But like once again, really, really nice game coming from Antic. I think ION had an idea about what kind of draft they wanted to play. You know, they really want to prioritize the center with the tank supports. But you know, Antic was so prepared with the draft they came out. They disrupted so much dive, and it's so hard to play these immobile champions. It's just such a strong dive comp that Antic have shown.
But they certainly did. In the end, it finishes, 26 minutes into the game with a 15k gold lead. All those woes of can they close out their games? Why haven't they in the past? Why is this team so star-studded, yet is struggling on some occasions? Not the case today. A huge, huge performance.